What happens to a child that doesn't feel their own feelings? What happens as they develop into an adult? And what happens in their adult lives?
First of all, that child hasn't been validated properly. And let's just acknowledge that,
Yep.
Education in parenting is something relatively new. I know that, the millennials are probably going to know more than the Gen X knew, about parenting, and hopefully, trauma will decrease as parents become more conscious. But what happens is that as we disconnect from our right to feel, and we also disconnect from our desires. We are cut off from our desires as well. But as adults, we lose sight of our inner child, or our younger parts of us that are sometimes protecting us, from situations where we perceive danger, where there is no danger, and because we want to belong with the people that we love, and so on. So it's really important, first of all, for us as parents to know how to validate our own feelings, so that we can mirror our children's feelings when they are experiencing anything that they are overwhelmed, and that we don't lose sight of the younger parts of us that have not been supported, that have not been validated. Does that answer your question?
Yes, I'm smiling right now because you just talked about what I believe to be true as well. If we cannot validate ourselves and our own feelings about certain things, we are going to have a lot of difficulty validating our own children's feelings about things as well. We must start with doing work on ourselves before we can be able to give empathy or compassion to others. But as you know, it's very difficult for people to go within and look at themselves, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes, it is difficult. Most people avoid it.
Why is it so difficult?
And it's understandable. However, I want to share that in my personal experience, the more I was able to go within, the more joy I experienced. So I'm sure you know about that, Dr. Sue. We have an emotional range, and our emotional range gets restricted. So the less we feel pain, the less we feel joy as well. And as we live within that very narrow emotional range. And so as we deepen our ability to be with our feelings, good and bad, bad feelings, we also deepen our ability to experience more joy. So I, on the other side, I guess, of the tunnel. So once someone told me, you really need to let all these little Marcias out of their dark rooms, and you keep them very closed shut in the dark with no food, and you're not letting them out, and you're not bringing them to the light, and that's what happens when you bring those parts of you. You can love those parts of you, how people weren't able, the way that people weren't able to love. In times when you felt overwhelmed and you wanted people to hold you in a different way. So that's my personal experience, and I know that a lot of other people grow immensely and discover more of themselves. And I guess that's the point as well, isn't it, Dr. Sue, that we discover who we really are, before we internalize all of the belief systems of other people and all the opinions about what we can be, can't be, can have, can't have, and all of that.